any kids in the family. So he's the lawyer, and he's the one who also works for the whole time for the families. Okay. Okay, and the people who run Steve, in the levels of the federal, which is the president of Mexico, which is so the wife. AMLO, he's the president right now. So his wife, she runs the DIF in Mexico City and the whole Mexico. And then in the state of, every state has a governor. So the governor, the wife governor, she runs the DIF in that level. And then the municipio, which is Cihuatlan, and this is the whole municipio. So Jorge, he is the president right now, so his wife, she runs the DIF. And she has a director, legal, that she runs every single problem, whatever happens for the DIF. When especially when we get this problem, when the hurricanes and the flood, when the town gets flooded, all the help that they can do for the families, that is through the DIF. So that's really important to know, what's the work that DIF does for this community. And also they have people and lawyers like Adolfo, and whatever they can do, or if they need any support from other departments or any other justice department, they get all the help from the government and the federal government to do what they need to do that is right. Okay? So far I think we're going to talk about marriage, newborn, death, adoptions. If there's any other questions that you have and we can answer, so we're more than happy to do that. So we're just ready to start, okay? Yeah, in general, okay? So in general, we're going to try to explain all the rights, because it's very big. Every single one the explanation is very, very big. So but we'll try to be in general, explain to you the best we can. Okay? Gracias. Okay. We're going to start with the DIF and the functions of the things that DIF develops in this area. Okay? The DIF belongs to the state of Jalisco. And the main thing that DIF does for the family or social assistance. Okay? So what it is, the social assistance it's to provide the service to families or people who has any discapacity, or people that lives in the street, or people that need families, in a very really sad situations, families, so they can come up to the DF department if anything they need. There's law in Mexico, so the DF can help with this situation. But we need the people of the Mexican, or anybody, any of you, is just to approach to the DF from any situation, and we can help you on anything that you need. Okay. Another function they have that is really important is to assistance, like the the asilo de ancianos is elder people. The house of elder people in Cihuatlan. That's another one of the things that they do for the community and for the municipio. Yes. Support and training to labor capacity, training on the labor, and support on families. And especially also, this is one of the important things they do also for women, they train it. So they can help the women, to all the way to the birth, also this is and also. So also, it's like in general explanation, it's just, the DIF is for all this situation, for all family needs, pregnancy, kids problems, and it can also be like, they can actually do training, education, helping support families, they provide food, they provide for, especially when we had these hurricanes and our town gets flooded, they're the ones or the main people who start trying to get all the support from the federal and also from the state of Jalisco, and try to get all this food try to provide everything for the families that have been in really bad conditions because of the weather.
Okay. Vamos a dar a conocer, llegan a DIF todas las personas solicitando apoyo, pero hay un grupo determinado de personas a las cuales DIF les brinda el apoyo. Vamos a enumerar cuáles son ellas.
Everybody can come to the DIF and can approach to the DIF trying to get some help from the DIF. But DIF somehow see the situations and they decide, the people that they can help.
Punto número 1, niñas, niños y adolescentes en condición de vulnerabilidad, aquellos que se encuentran en alguno de los siguientes grupos de la calle.
Children's, boys and girls and little kids that they have these problems that these kids they don't have the family support and they live on the street. So these are the one of the main things that they do for them.
Niños con enfermedades terminales.
Kids like with like terminal disease. Thank you. Like cancer, any other disease. That's one of the things. Also.
Niños violentados, maltratados, abusados o explotados.
Kids that have been used and abused, and they've been exploited.
Con problemas de adicciones.
And with the addiction problems.
Discapacidad.
Handicaps.
Discapacity. Disabilities.
En conflictos de la ley, adolescentes o niños que cometieron delitos.
Kids with the problems with the law, or they committed any crime or problems.
Hijos, hijas de personas privadas de la libertad.
For children that they've been
de papás encarcelados.
Like parents that they're being that are in jail, so they take care of these kids also.
Víctimas del delito.
Or victims of the crime.
Migrantes separados, migrantes no acompañados.
When they get separated, like divorces.
Con enfermedades o trastornos mentales.
With disease or mental discapacities.
Desnutrición.
Desnutrition.
Niños abandonados.
Abandoned kids.
Problemas de alcoholismo.
Alcohol problems.
Personas adultas mayores que se encuentran en estado de desamparo.
Elder people that they live in conditions that they're not protected.
Personas en situación de calle.
People who live in the street. Homeless people.
Entre otras. Sería lo más amplio.
This is more like in general. That's what the DIF department. That's their duty. The duty to help the community, the people in there.
Esta es lo general que DIF hace a personas que tengan vulnerabilidad, o sea, personas que no tengan los suficientes recursos para poder ser atendidas por otras instancias. A ese tipo de familia DIF protege.
So this is the DIF, what they do to protect all these families that they don't have, the money to go to hire lawyers, or so they can go to DIF because DIF is free. Okay.
Dentro de DIF existen diferentes direcciones. Una de ellas la Procuraduría de Niños y Adolescentes.
Okay. So in the DIF, there's a few departments that belongs to DIF. One of these is the Department of Justice for Children.
¿Cuál es mi función?
Em,
Proteger a todos los niños menores de 18 años.
So my duty, his duty, I'm sorry. So his duty is to protect all the kids, all the from teenagers, all 18 and under.
Hay dos formas de que llegue el reporte a mí,
So there's two ways that he gets the report.
ya sea por llamada
It can be a phone call
o derivación de alguna institución de gobierno.
or any other government department that they made the call and they want to make that report.
¿Qué hago una vez que llega a mí el reporte?
Once I get the report, this is what I do.
Cuento con un equipo multidisciplinario,
I count with
un
the
equipo de trabajo.
on general, and also I just want to mention this because we had this conversation before. On general and with the federal law and the state, the law of the state. So he counts with all these people for whatever the needs is that he needs to develop.
Cuento con abogado, trabajadora social y psicólogo, médico. Cuatro.
Doctors, psychologists, and lawyers.
Una vez el reporte, junto a mi equipo, me dirijo al hogar. Cada uno hace su trabajo de investigación y entre todos analizamos qué situación se encuentra el niño.
Once they get the problem, so they all know the problem is, so they go to the address and they all go together to the address and every single one will do their duty.
Si el niño sufre algún riesgo en su vida, tengo la facultad de extraer al niño y ponerlo en una familia donde sea protegido o mandarlo a un albergue.
So if the problem is really serious, so he has to protect the kid and take the kid out of the family, this house and the family, and bring it over to a place that he can be protected, or another family.
La mayoría de los delegados los mandan a una casa, a un albergue. Yo busco una familia para que los proteja.
So normally they bring it over to this place that belongs to the DIF, but it's more like what he likes to do is more to protect his kids, and find a way to protect his kids.
Aquí en Melaque tengo dos niños por dos señoras que los están protegiendo.
So we have the case here in Malacca, so there's two ladies, so two families that they're protecting the kids right now. About the situation.
Si sus padres no mejoran para poder reintegrar al niño con la familia, busco un familiar o una persona de confianza para tramitar la custodia y el niño ya se quede con ellos.
So if this is the case, the parents they don't get better as a parents to protect their own kids. So he and the DIF department, they need to find out the best way to take care of these children.
Próximamente en 2 años, así como hay una delegación para cuidar a todos los niños, va a haber para personas adultas y personas con discapacidad.
Yeah. So they're working on this project also because they wanted to do also for elder people, try to do exactly the same what they're doing with the children and protect everybody.
Okay. No sé si quiero preguntarles alguna pregunta aquí. ¿Qué es el DIF?
We're going to start this. This is more like the DIF and the general. That we're going to talk about also what we said about death, birth, and marriage and everything. But I don't know if you have any questions. Other questions we can do later, after. We continue then? Okay.
Pasaremos a lo que es la familia. O sea,
Okay, now
diremos qué es familia.
we'll say what it means a family.
Comúnmente piensan que familia es papá, mamá, hijos.
So normally think family is the mother, the father, and the children.
Los tiempos y las reformas dicen todo lo contrario.
Now the times and the law says now a different thing.
Se protegen los derechos humanos
They protect the human rights,
y existen diferentes tipos de familia.
and there's a different type of families.
Que pueden ser la tradicional papá, mamá, hijos,
It could be the traditional family, like the mother, the father, and the kids,
hombre con o sea, esposo y esposo, hombre, hombre,
or the same sex, males and females.
mujer, mujer, papá con hijos o mamá con hijos, o familias sin padres.
Or if single parents, they can be like singles, but they can be parents to protect their kids.
Y a todos ellos protege no solo el DIF, los derechos humanos.
And all this protect, the DIF protects, and also the Justice Department protects, this situation.
El matrimonio no es lo único que constituye la familia.
The marriage is not just the basic or the main thing that is what it means in the family.
Y la pregunta que nos vamos a hacer es ¿quiénes se pueden casar?
And the question is, who can get married?
En 2023,
Now in this 2023,
el único impedimento para no casarse
the only thing that we not to get married,
ser menor de edad.
It's
18 años, menor de 18 años.
18 and younger. That's the only thing that's the only reason that is still the law protects and they cannot get married.
Y la pregunta que viene para este lugar es, yo como extranjero, ¿me puedo casar en México?
So if the question is as a foreign,
Like a foreigner?
if the question is if you can get married in Mexico,
La respuesta es sí.
the answer is yes.
Lo único diferente son documentos que deben de traer muy especiales de ellos.
So the only difference here is it's all the documents that you need to bring with you. That it has to be.
Toda persona que está en territorio mexicano tiene los mismos derechos.
Every single person who lives in Mexico, in Mexican territory, has the same human rights as in Mexico.
Lo único diferente es
The only difference here is
que debe de agregar
that you need to add
acta de nacimiento apostillada
your birth certificate,
o legalizada,
certified and legal, legalized,
traducida por perito autorizado
and translated with the notary, authorized notary,
y pasaporte vigente.
and the updated passport. Yeah, the passport, but
Current passport, updated.
enigmatic.
Y todos los demás requisitos que se le pide a un nacional.
And all the what requires the same for as a national, the national papers.
Es lo mismo para el divorcio.
It's exactly the same if you want to get divorced.
Lo único que va a complicar el matrimonio, el divorcio, el nacimiento o la muerte es no cumplir con estos requisitos.
What's going to make a big difference here on the birth, marriage, and divorce is not to have complete all these documents required, but also certified and legalized by the notary. That's what is going to make a difference.
Divorcio y matrimonio es lo mismo.
For divorce and marriage is exactly the same. Adoption.
El único requisito para adoptar es ser residente.
The only thing you need to be
Residente permanente.
if you like to adopt, the only thing it requires here is you have to be a Mexican citizen.
Residente permanente.
No, it's a
permanent resident. of
permanent
Mexico.
resident, yeah.
Los requisitos son sencillos.
And the requirements of citizens, yeah, it's very simple.
No hay una edad para decir hasta tanto edad puedes adoptar. Cualquier persona puede adoptar siempre y cuando tenga salud física y psíquica.
Anybody, there's no age to adopt a kid. There's no age. As long as your health is good and the economic is good and no health and your health is in good shape, it's good. And not mental, yeah.
Sí.
Or mental disease, yeah.
Hay dos estudios que determinarán si sí son aptos o no.
There's two studies that determine if you're apt if you're qualified for the adoptions.
Es el económico, que es trabajo social, y el psicológico.
That's the economics and the psychologist.
Y yo como delegado,
and he as a lawyer,
debo de entregar un certificado de idoneidad.
He needs to give a
Si es idóneo, si es apto.
A certification that the person needs accomplished with all the requirements. I hope I said it right. Yeah.
Les voy a regalar este es un expediente. Es un expediente donde son los requisitos que deben de cumplir para aquella persona que quiera adoptar. Voy a dejarlo.
Okay. So he has this file. See if it's okay for you. So he wants to give it to you, and you can keep it. And if anybody has any questions, so then we can have that's for the adoption. If you like to adopt, that's the requirements right there.
Okay. De la muerte.
Okay. Death now.
Toda persona, hay dos tipos de muerte.
There's two types of death.
Si no es muerte natural, es muerte violenta.
If it's not the natural death or a violent death.
Si es muerte natural, el primer respondiente que viene siendo el primer médico o la policía a que llamen, le notificará al médico municipal de Cihuatlán que yo les voy a dar el número de teléfono.
If it's the natural death, so the doctor that comes, the first, that comes to the house and said, this is a natural death,
y él debe de certificar que sí es muerte natural.
He's the one who has to certify that it's a natural death, and then he's the one who calls to the doctor in the municipio, and he's going to provide also those numbers for you.
Si él dice que sí es muerte natural, ahí se cierra y se hace cargo la funeraria.
So this is the case that is a natural death. So the case, there's nothing to look for it, and then you just call the funeraria, the funeral, right? The funeral, and then that's your decision. What would you like to do?
Si determina que es muerte violenta, dará parte al Ministerio Público.
And if it's a different death, violent death, the situation comes to the Department of Justice, or the Ministerio Público, that's what we call in Spanish, and that's a different situation.
Y ya sería responsable la CEMEFO.
And then CEMEFO, that's another department that they will come and will check and what was the cause of the death.
Y cerraríamos esta breve plática con que es necesario que cumplan con esos requisitos. Para todos esos trámites es apostilla, legalizada, traducción y pasaporte vigente. Si no, se va a complicar los 4 trámites.
He's making so much emphasis on this situation about your paper, your legal papers, that it has to be certified and notified also. This is very important when you travel or when you come to any country. So to have, your papers certified and notified by the notary. So just in case whatever happens, because that's one of the things that we had this conversation already, especially in death, they cannot give you the body because they have to translate everything, your passport and your papers, it needs to be translated, and that's one of the things or the problems that causes, so that's the reason you don't get the body fast, when there's, but that's why you need to have all your papers, he said in Spanish, just for you, if it's any other word that I'm not saying it right, but we say this apostillado. Apostillado, that's the word that means certified, or, yeah. I just want to make sure that I was saying this right, okay?
En Cihuatlán existe una institución que apostilla y legaliza.
In Cihuatlán, they have this, there's a delegation so that they can do the tramits for you if you like to do and have your papers, legally, just like this, just in case. I mean, I know you're on vacation, but just in case, this will help for you, and also that's exactly the same thing. Like me as a Mexican, if I like to travel, I have to bring my paper exactly the same way. Normally we don't do it, but it's better for you to have your paperwork, translated and certified and notified. So just in case if you have any time, you can go to Cihuatlán to this department.
Y por último, todo extranjero puede transitar por el territorio mexicano sin que nadie le diga, enséñame tus documentos, y si se va a acercar ante el oficial de registro civil, no importa su situación migratoria, él tiene que atenderlo. Si quiere casarse, si quiere divorciarse, él no le va a preguntar si está aquí de manera regular, él tiene que hacer el trabajo.
So just for you is you can feel free to travel in Mexico because you're when you come to Mexico you can feel free to travel in Mexico. And if you like to get married,
Cualquier trámite en el registro civil.
If you like to do any tramitar, like to do any paperwork or tramitar, en cualquier trámite.
Whatever documentation you're going through is the word is tramite is a document, a process. The process of documenting.
So the process of the documents is you have the right, and they don't really have to ask you, or they have to. If you would like to get married, then you have the right to get married if you like to. Okay. If you have any question, say.
Do you have to have? I understood that you have to have your name.
Excuse me, can you come to the microphone? Otherwise, everybody else cannot hear the question, and we are recording this session.
I understood that you have to have your marriage license, your original, not a photocopy or a copy, from Canada if you're here in the country and something happens. Is that correct? Yes, I know.
See, that's all the paperwork that you have is right. But it's for whatever process that you need to do on the documents here in Mexico. So the best way to do it is to have it certified and notified at the notary. Canada or the United States.
So you could bring all that with you and then have it translated so you always had it with you here in Malaki?
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's the best way for you. I mean, like I say, we know you're all on vacation, but this is any need, so that will help you with the process, and then you will have no problems with this document. Yeah.
And if I can add to that, if you are going through any process, documentation process, application for residency or anything like that, then you will need those documents and get them translated by a certified translator approved by the government of Mexico, and with that you can proceed with the rest of the tramite, the process.
That's a need, and if you don't have it, in Cihuatlán he will provide the telephone number for you, just in case if you decided to have it. Just in case you don't have it, so then you can come up to this office and then we'll do it for you.
That was going to be my question. If we could have that information and maybe it can be put on the church website, or someplace where it can be accessed.
Yes.
I just wanted to mention my daughter, who is a permanent citizen and is married to a Mexican citizen, adopted a child, a Mexican-born child, and the process was about 2 years long before she could leave the country with the child. Now she and her husband want to go back to Canada, but they're dealing with the fact that they have to go through Canada immigration and have the child immigrate to Canada, and that can be a 2 or 3 year process. So, if there is somebody that you or your family is thinking would be a worthwhile adoption, and you wish to bring them back to Canada for education or medical or any reason, you need to be aware of the immigration in Canada. So just a bit of information. Thank you.
Sorry, it was so she already they adopted the kid, and they still the kid's in process on these documents for 2 years already.
It took 2 years for all of the documents to be completed.
To be complete. Okay.
Yes.
That was which states in Mexico, ma'am?
It was in Jalisco.
Yes, sir.
And it was a private adoption. The mother was known to the family. The large family had adopted already one child from this mother, and she had a baby that she did not wish to keep.
Hay dos tipos de adopciones, las privadas y las que lleva a cabo la Procuraduría de Protección de Niños, Niños y Adolescentes. Es más rápida que la privada. En la privada se juega dinero, tiempo, muchas cuestiones. Por parte de la PEPENA, que son las siglas, es más rápido.
Okay, there's two ways to adopt the kids. You know, you can do it for the private, the way they did, or you can come to the DIF and adopt the kid through the DIF. It takes longer time in the private, time and money. And if you come with them, this is the process is different, and they help you with all the they help you with all the process. But the main thing for the DIF is to reincorporate the kids with a good family. So that's exactly what they do, and it's less time.
That's good to hear. Could have this mother contacted the DIF and say, this is the family I want to adopt my child?
If it's 18 years younger, they can help with the tramits, the process for the adoption.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
He said that he would like to give a little advice.
Yo comúnmente recomiendo el trámite de la custodia, porque es más rápido que la adopción. Con la custodia ya pueden ustedes salir con el niño para todos lados. Yo recomiendo custodia de manera urgente.
He said that if instead of he recommends instead of the adoption, a custody. Did I say that right? Custody. And because he said that the custody is less time, and then if you like to take the kid out of the country, then you can do it.
Okay. Yes, my daughter had custody of the baby right from birth. So my daughter was actually there for the birth and stayed in the hospital with the mother until the mother was discharged.
That's a good thing. They can do custody, because otherwise they're breaking the law. If they have to be, they're breaking the law, because it has to be the baby after the birth. It needs to be 20 days. 20 days after he's 20 days age, then you can do the adoption. But before that, when the baby's still in. It's still the baby in the mother's baby, It's
Yes, there was no exchange of money or anything of this sort. And when my daughter took custody of the baby, she realized that the mother had quite a long term where the mother could say, no, I want my baby back. And so that process was followed, and it was all followed very legally. But it was a long process.
Yeah, that's the reason that he was explaining. That's the reason it's different when you try to adopt a kid, in the private, than when you come up to a DIF. So they have everything. They have all the lawyers and all the justice departments and every single, a municipio, the state, and the federal. Not because this is a very small town, so they can really help you with this process. But when it comes up with the private thing, you probably know about like some other things that when you do the private and you have a private lawyer, it takes time and it's money. Because he said a word before, I just mentioned that, I didn't translate that, but they play with that.
Yes.
I hope we can answer your question then.
Just one comment, Lionel. If you could just hold the microphone closer, please.
Sí, gracias.
If we could go to the other end of the spectrum, we've talked about adoption. Now let's go to the other end of it. And I would like to address the problem with a person dying in the state of Jalisco and then attempting to be cremated in the state of Colima. Could you address that?
Is that what your question? They do the cremation in the state of Colima and not in Jalisco.
That's correct. If the death happens in the state of Jalisco, as far as I know, there's not a crematorium in here.
No.
Realistically, the only place to go is Colima.
Well, especially because we're close to the Colima state, so they bring it over to the Colima state.
But there is paperwork to be involved to transfer a body across the state line.
Dice que hay
And
papeleo,
everybody should know what that is.
dice que hay papeles que tienen que ver legales, obviamente, porque pues que es un estado y que quiere saber cuáles son. Pero eso lo hace la funeraria. Sí, if this is the case, people die in Colima. We have a death in Jalisco, and the crematory, it's in, the closest to us is in Colima State, or Colima. So the CEMEFO, which is this is the department when there's a death, CEMEFO comes, and also if you hire this funeral department to do all the process, so they are the ones who does all the process on the paperwork. But let's go from the beginning. As long as you have your paperwork certified, that will make it a lot easier for everybody to do any process on the documents, on the paper. But you don't really have to do much on this paperwork. It's just the funeral department of the CEMEFO, they are the ones, once you provide the paperwork, they are the one who takes care of everything. And that's your decision if this dead person has to be buried or a crematory. Is that okay? We answer your question, sir?
No, not quite. If it happens on a Friday afternoon, a late Friday afternoon, then we have to go to Siwatlan, and we have to get, not from the funeral home, we have to get from the municipality paperwork to cross state lines. Or at least we did 3 years ago.
There's always, there's people on guard, people on the covering the second, the shift, the afternoon or the nighttime, so people can go to the same department and do all the process, the tramit. It didn't happen?
Okay, then there's been a change, because as of 4:30 Friday night 3 years ago, that was the closing hour, and then nothing could have been done after that until Monday morning.
Wow. So they make you wait until Monday?
No, we got it done, but it was it was right at the closing date. The lady had to come back and finish it a little bit, but maybe something has changed. I don't know, but people should know what the correct process is.
Yo soy 24/7. Yo vivo en Manzanillo y cuando me llaman para alguna declaración de alguna niña, tengo que venir 1 de la mañana, 2 de la mañana, 3 de la mañana, lo que sea.
He's 24/7. You know, it should be exactly the same. Even if the place is closed, there's always people. There's always people who has to take care of this. Even if he's 24/7. He lives in Manzanillo, so whatever happens to a kid, you know, anytime he has to come and deal with this situation. So, you know, I don't want to say anything about this, but I think it's probably because somehow as a Mexican we know how to deal with this thing. But when you hire the funeral, please try to do this through the funeral and don't go and try to do all this paperwork yourself, because it will be a little more complicated probably for you, because they know how to do it. They have the legal thing to do it, and I've been in situations with the families and friends like this, and I never had any problem, but I hope it never happened. But I can understand that you might probably been through, because I had some situations before. But it's better to do it through the funeral department, you know, they will take care of everything.
I hope you're correct.
I hope, yeah.
Thank you.
Gracias, señor.
Thank you. I have 2 questions. The first one is for me, and the second one is just another side question. But on the subject of funerals, I think there is a difference in language, and just to be very clear, as someone who comes to Mexico, I could have all the necessary documents translated by a certified translator in Canada and notarized in Canada and bring them here. They would still need to be certified and or notarized here?
No.
Or no?
No.
No, okay,
No.
so that's one thing.
Yes.
And then I was just going to say that a funeral home is a good idea, but again, I think sometimes we don't always know which funeral home, where to go. There's costs, and I have heard, because I called for several people to funeral homes in the past, some here, some in Colima, and there was a great difference in how much was required. One company told me that if nobody claimed the body in a week, they would be sent to a pauper's grave. Like, there's some real fears on the part of Canadians and foreigners about what is legitimate and what is not. And sometimes there's no family members for the person who dies here, then, you know, who has the authority? But the best thing is to have your paperwork in order,
Yes.
in order before we come here, yes, I guess. And assign somebody as a responsible. And on that topic, you might have mentioned wills, but I'm not sure I heard that word. So normally in Canada, if you die, you have a will that says who is the person that's going to take charge of your estate. Would you need such a person appointed here if you were to die here and have your will or claim your body?
Por la situación en la que si una persona de ellos muere aquí, ¿quién va a reclamar este cuerpo? Obviamente si ya trae todos sus papeles apostillados y todo está ilegal, ¿quién lo reclama? ¿Quién se hace responsable en caso de que estas personas tengan que lo reclamen?
¿No hay nadie aquí o en el extranjero?
No, pues no hay nadie aquí, vamos, que no hay nadie aquí en México, y que obviamente tendrán la situación, por ejemplo, de esto lo verían a través solamente de la funeraria.
Funeraria y fiscalía.
Fiscalía.
Se encarga de fiscalía también.
Okay.
Sí.
So this is the case, you know, they have this department that's called La Fiscalía. So the Fiscalía is in charge of, you know, if somebody dies here and doesn't have any friends, or they have the authority to look for a family member, somebody who can claim the body and try to do all the treatments, you know, about the crematory or, you know, the other way. I don't know if it was a really
Well,
long
I am thinking of a few specific circumstances where this has happened, And because there was no will and the person died, various people tried to claim the body, but I think the rightful people weren't involved. So there are some issues. I'm just wondering. But the funeral home seemed to think that not anybody could come and claim the body. So you're saying this Department of Fiscalia would help you out with that. And of course, we were just talking, doing a little aside. So what about the will? Do you need a will on death here? If the person is not residing here? No.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes things a little easier, I think, because that would also need to be translated, I'm guessing. And any directions you might have about what's to be done with your body would have to be translated and notarized as well.
Yes.
Yeah, like for example, if you want to be cremated here, your wishes are that.
Yes.
Okay, or whatever. Okay, well, it clears up a lot of things. Thank you. The last question is from a friend of mine, and she just would like to know what the letters D-E-F-A, what do they stand for? What do they represent, those letters, the words? No.
So D-I-F.
Yes.
You mean that's the letters?
Yes, what does that represent? What does it mean? Those are initials.
DIF is Desarrollo Integral para la Familia.
So
I will say this again in Spanish, okay?
Oh, I got it.
Desarrollo
Development.
Integral.
The whole person or holistic development.
Para la familia.
For the family.
Yes.
So that helps.
See? That's the main thing, huh? Gracias. Okay. I hope we made it clear for you. But if you have any questions, please you can ask. Or if we're missing something, please ask. And I hope we can do our best for you. So he said also he's going to provide all the numbers of like a directorio, so you can have all these numbers from all this department, so you can all share and have it with you. So
on the back table, there is a small little piece of paper that you can stick in your wallet that has his phone number and the information that he's given you on what he does. So you can have that. And I suspect if you look at your passport, there is a page where you have to fill out your name, address, and next of kin. Look in your own passport. So your passport is very important. And when he says notary or certified, in Canada we don't certify, or in the United States we don't certify, we notarize. We go to the notary public and you notarize your birth certificate, you notarize your passport, and then when you get here you find the translator to translate those. And then you're protected for all these necessary things, because you have to have them if you have to deal with death, or hopefully you won't have to. But occasionally it happens.
Gracias. Okay, he said that he will provide the phone numbers of every department so that you can have it, and if that will probably help you, so you can all of you can help each other also, so that you can go directly to the department that you need, the help, for you. So he's just going to send it to me or to you, Nancy, and then you just can print it out and provide it to all of you and have it here.
I just had one little question. It's just general interest. Obviously, his department must be huge, because one person cannot do that work. How many people are connected with this in the state?
I'll just repeat the question for everybody to hear. What he was saying was that your department must be huge, because there's no way that one person can do all the work that was mentioned today. So we're waiting for the answer.
En mi departamento, yo voy a hablar de mi departamento. En mi departamento debemos ser mínimo 5.
His department,
En mi departamento.
now there are 5.
Pero nada más voy a decir que estoy solo para atender a toda la niñez de todo el municipio.
Yeah. That's why he's 24/7. Yeah. So far, there's pero sí cuenta con todo el apoyo de
Con todas las instituciones estamos enlazados.
But it should be, the right thing should be like they should come with the right number of people, so they all can work and help, and they all can work, together for this DIF department. But for the situation sometimes in government, because politics and that's crazy. But so that's why there's a few right there. It's the wife of the presidente and the director, him. ¿Y qué más está ahí?
20 más. Son 7
No, pero ahí en el departamento, ¿cuántos son? O sea, está la directora, está la esposa del presidente.
Y cada director de su área.
And every single director from the different areas. So they work all together. And right there, I will give you the address for the DIF, the DIF. But the best thing, they count with all the people and the law from the state of Jalisco and also the federal for this situation. DIF is a very, very strong department. It's a department that we trust on this department because it's working pretty good. I had the opportunity to work a little bit with these people and several of the years because I'm from Cihuatlán. So that's the municipio. Somehow you get to know everybody, or I will not say, but almost every single presidente. There is a family, a friend, the father of my friend, a person that we studied together somehow, so we all know each other. But I can tell you the DIF, this is one of the great departments that works really good. I know probably your question, but I know they can do a lot, and this is for sure. And I know we have this little thing right there that they can do much, much more or more efficient, and sometimes in the different things, But thanks, that's a really good question.
Entonces quisieras
Okay.
Aquí está la familia. Ella está resguardando una niña de 8 años que no está registrada, que no está haciendo los leyes. Posiblemente le tramite la custodia para que tenga el niño.
Okay. This is he would like to share. He will not share the person identity. See that they identify or identify the person, but he has this case right now. This lady, he's protecting a little girl, 8 years old. She's 8 years old, so now she's trying to get her custody because the problem here, she's not even, she doesn't have a birth certificate. So now he needs to work on this, and it's been a problem right now. But this lady, and she's American, and she's trying to get her custody. So he's working on all the process right now. So to help her also, to help the girl and to help the lady, so she can do somehow like her custody instead of that adoption. So this is one of the many situations that we have in this community. So this is he wanted to share, this situation that this American is trying to do now for the little girl. They have more kids in this area that they're being protected right now, and we were just on time. We probably were going to be a little late because he was in the judge department, the juicios orales here in the Aguacate, and he just out of one of these litigations or with the judge for almost 6 hours, the first one. Yeah, but this is one of the situations that is one of the nightmare situation that we don't want to go through. But I don't know. Any other question?
Are there a lot of children that are in need of homes and to be adopted in your department?
So I'll just repeat that question. Are there a lot of children in need that require adoption in your department?
En Guadalajara sí.
In Guadalajara, yes.
Todos están en Guadalajara. Aquí no hay albergues. Todos están en Guadalajara.
Sí, hay ¿cuántas necesidades hay aquí de
Muchos, o sea, una de ellas es la niña que tenemos con mujeres, o sea, en vez de yo mandarlos a una casa, los pongo en una familia.
Pero sí tienen muchas necesidades.
Sí, demasiado. Que tienen que ser separados de su familia porque sufren violencia.
Okay. I hope this is I got the question. I got the right question. Oh, I understood the question. I'm sorry, but he said that there's a lot of situations right now. There's a lot of kids that they really have to be taken away from their own families and put them away in safe places. So, because of the situation that they're going through. So, if the situation doesn't get better with the families, these kids they can be ready to be adopted. But there's quite a few. But in Guadalajara, of course, because that's the second largest city in Mexico, there's a lot. There's a big. They have big places. Sorry if you can help me with the word in English, but it's called albergues. Albergues means a place, a house where they take orphanage. I think it's shelter more like that. Orphanage.
That was mine.
Yeah. See, normally that's where they send their kids, but what they do here, what he does here, they try to find a family who wants to adopt the kids or get the custody. It would be a foster home, yeah, and a faster way to protect, because that's the main thing, trying to get the kids away from this situation that they're going through now.
So do you have foster homes, a foster care program in Jalisco? Do you have that?
Yeah, I've
Program.
Do you have a foster care program in Jalisco to protect kids who are in danger in your families?
see the asilo de ancianos, right? That's one of the asilo de ancianos.
No. Para niños.
Where children are being, you go find a new home, that you put them in.
No hay, se necesita, al no haber, yo busco una familia, pero se necesita, no hay, yo busco una familia.
Okay, I hope I got it right. Sorry for my English, but he said that they don't have any, but that's the reason that he tries to find a family that wants to help or have a custody for the kids. Is that what's the question? I'm sorry.
That's foster
Yeah.
care. That's a foster care.
Ahora sí te quieren que se pare los niños, uno aquí la tengo y otro no se niña aquí. Al no haber una casa buena, los
It's not exist.
no hay, pero sería un buen proyecto.
Yeah. He said that this is a project that they're working right now, or something that they have to work on it, because there's two cases here. Right now, there's two cases here in Malake. Two kids that have been separated from the family and being in a family in the house that they taking care of these kids. Yeah. But now we don't have the. If that was the question, that was the question, so we don't have a house. Like they get the kids in the room right there. Yeah.
Tengo dos adolescentes de 16 años en Guadalajara resguardadas que no las puedo sacar porque no hay una familia idónea.
So he has also a couple of kids, 16 years old in Guadalajara. He cannot get them out because there's no family. He hasn't found a family who wants to get her
Y ellas quieren salir, lloran
custody,
porque
and they
pero
right,
no
they
tengo
want
con
to be
quién
out, but
llevarlas.
there's no family right now who wants to take care of them.
Todos sus familiares son drogadictos y no los voy a exponer.
So the whole family, they've been the drug addict problems in the family. So he doesn't want to expose these two kids with their own families.
El albergue es muy caro, pagamos 14,000 pesos mensuales por las dos.
And the price, they really pay a lot of money to keep these kids in these houses. How do you call that? Foster. I gotta look it up in my dictionary.
It's an unusual word.
It's a home, usually private home where somebody is trained to be, you would say a surrogate parent. And they're not the real parent, but they take care of the children, and they can usually take more than 2 or 3. But they're not part of the family. They're brought in.
Es una figura que se llama familia de acogida. sea que es temporal. En lo que se
It's like a temporary house, right? He said that in Spanish it's called familia de acogida. So you just like, yeah, take the kids and they protect the kids. Well, if you have any another question, you're good. I hope we help you with those, the answer and everybody understood, but also, we're more than happy if any other time you would like to extend this conversation a little more in group, or if you feel more comfortable, and if you like to approach to Adolfo anytime, so we are more than happy to help you on anything, okay? That's it.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
And just a reminder, there are those cards with the information at this table, and also we have a couple baskets here if anybody would like to donate to the cultural awareness. The funds that we receive at the door go into the community to our community awareness or community service fund to help the poor. Nothing stays with the church. Thank you.